Hi everyone, it's Spirituality and I have a microphone now. So hopefully this video will sound better than the last one. But a few weeks ago I posted on TikTok that I wanted to do a basic Q&A video to kind of get this channel started. And so I had you guys comment your questions and I'm going to be answering them today. So here's the tea. So someone asked me to make a list of basically Christian deity correspondences, what colors, herbs, etc. go with Yahweh, Yeshua, Sophia, and Asherah. And I'm actually going to make that its own separate video. Thank you for the idea, because there's so much to talk about with that, and I feel like a lot of people would have the same question, and I want to make sure that I give that the amount of time that it deserves. So I'm going to make that into its own video, so keep an eye out for that. Did I fight witchcraft at first? Was I scared to partake in it? Absolutely. As you guys saw in my intro video, I fought it for a really long time. I was really scared of it because I was taught that it was evil. I had been drawn to it all through, my teens, maybe even a little bit younger than that, and I just kept fighting it. And it took until age 20 to finally take that leap of faith and pursue it. And definitely the best decision that I've ever made. What does it mean if you feel you have a very strong connection to a deity without trying or doing any kind of deity work? So that could be a deity trying to reach out to you. A lot of times, if you feel a strong pull towards a deity, it means that they want to work with you eventually. Not always, but sometimes. So I would recommend doing some research on certain deities or certain signs of certain deities. Maybe they're sending you a sign. Maybe you're having repeating dreams or seeing repeating animals, things like that. Do some research. What are my favorite witchy books? 1 second. So as you all know, I lost a lot of my witchy books recently, but I was able to get some of them replaced, so I will show you some of my favorites for Christian witches or just beginner witches in general. So there's a whole bunch of these kinds of books out there. This is a little bit of angels and a little bit of tarot, but there's also a little bit of crystals, a little bit of chakras, a little bit of Wicca, like a little bit of ... These books are really good beginner guides, I think. They don't encompass everything. They don't give all the details because it's just a little bit of ... But I think these are definitely a good place to start. Do more research than this, but it's a good place to start. Next, we have The Big Blue Book, Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft. Now, this book is an older book, and it is also Wicca-based. So if you're not Wicca, you're not going to use everything in this book. There is a lot of good information still about like herbs and crystals and the history of witchcraft, so that is why I recommend this book. But I do want to put it out there that, this is kind of marketed as a beginner book, but there is some really complex stuff in here. So when it comes to witchcraft books with rituals and instructions and things like that, always pace yourself. Don't feel like you have to do everything in this book or any witchcraft book that you ever read. Just read to learn. Don't necessarily read to do. If you can do some of the things in this book, then good for you. That's fine. But don't feel like you have to do everything in here. There's just some good basic beginner information in here. But if you are a beginner, you're definitely not going to want to do everything in here, but still read about it. And last but not least, the book that I talk about on TikTok all the time, When God Had a Wife, by Lynn Picknett and Clive Prince. This is where I learned about the goddess Asherah, who is Yahweh's wife. And if you grew up Christian, but you're maybe missing out on the idea of a goddess, or you want to get in touch with your divine feminine, this is definitely the book for you. Next, what is my view on other Abrahamic religions? I'm a very live and let live kind of person. I very much believe that as long as you are not causing harm to yourself or anyone else, do whatever you want. So as long as your religion does not involve hurting yourself or anyone else, disrespecting anyone else, then worship whoever you want to worship. Believe in whatever you want to believe in. Has witchcraft helped me grow as a person? Yes, of course it has. I think that I'm a better person because of it. I'm not afraid to embrace my femininity and my feminine power. I'm a lot less self-conscious about my body because of it, my sexuality. I'm a lot more confident since taking on the craft. I feel like it has given me a lot of freedom to express myself in ways that I haven't been able to before. So definitely. What is my favorite magical working tool? Someone asked, what are some good beginner crystals? Now, this is another one that I plan to make a video about. So again, thanks for the idea. But for beginners, I like to recommend amethyst because, for one thing, it's very common and very inexpensive and very easy to obtain. And there's just a lot of properties to it. It's very peaceful. It can help with anxiety. It can help you fall asleep faster. It overall is just associated with peace and calm, which is definitely needed in day-to-day life. How did I notice that deities were coming to me? Well, for one thing, the whole Christian deities thing was a little bit different than other deities because I was raised Christian. And so those, Yeshua comes to me very easily because you could say that I've been working with him my whole life. My angel is a little bit different because she came to me as a kid. And so, again, you could say that I've been working with her for almost my whole life. And when you're a child, your third eye is open. It hasn't been closed yet. So I guess you could say, in that regard. And as I said in my first video, I was encouraged to utilize my gift of talking to angels as a child. So that's a little bit different. But Aries and the Morrigan appeared to me in dreams. So that's how I knew that they wanted to reach out to me. Lilith appeared in my room at 3 a.m. one night, and I was expecting her. I knew she'd be there at some point. So that wasn't a huge surprise. And as far as Asherah goes, I started reading about her, and I'd already been working with Yahweh my whole life, and once I learned that he had a wife, he was like, hello, I would like my wife to be included. So she became included. What is something that Yahweh confirmed for me that was unexpected? Now that you guys know my name and I'm not being so secretive online anymore, I can tell this story. So there was one time a couple years ago, back when I was regularly going to church, I had lost my Bible and I couldn't find it anywhere for weeks. I checked under my bed, I checked my car, I even checked the church, went around the church to see if I'd left it there. Couldn't find it anywhere. And one night, I'm home alone, and I was in just kind of a weird place in life where there was just a lot going on. I was a teenager, I was stressed, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and overall kind of just felt like God had forgotten about me because of everything that I was going through. But one night, I'm home alone, and I just get this vibe of hey, look for your Bible, I'm gonna help you. So I'm like, okay, where do I start? And I got the vibe, look under your bed. And I'm thinking, well, I've already looked under my bed, but okay. So I get down on the floor, I look under my bed, and sure enough, there's my Bible. So I'm like, all right, that was a little weird. So I get on my bed, and I flip my Bible open to a random page, totally random, didn't have any intentions to turn to a specific page, just turned to a random page. And I opened to the story of Hannah. Yes, if you don't know, there is a story of a woman named Hannah in the Bible. And she asks God for a child over and over and over again, and she doesn't get one, and she feels like she's been forgotten. But the Lord gives her a child and reminds her that he has not forgotten her. And since I was feeling forgotten at the time, the fact that I randomly opened to that part of the story where God showed Hannah that she had not been forgotten, that was really significant for me, and I think that that's something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. Do I use the elements in my craft? Kind of. So, you hear about casting a circle and you call the quarters or corners, or everyone's got a different word for it. But I call upon the angels and use them as my guardians of the watchtowers, for lack of better words. And the guardian angels are associated with elements. Michael is associated with fire, Gabriel is associated with water, Uriel is associated with the earth, and Raphael is associated with the air. So when I call upon them to form my circle, I call upon the elements. Maybe I'll make a TikTok video showing you guys my new altar. But I try to organize my altar in correspondence with the elements as well. Like my chalice, where I give liquid offerings, is on the west side of the altar. Lilith is associated with the air, so her statue is on the east side, things like that. So it's not super in-depth, but yeah, I guess you could say that I work with the elements a little bit. I'm not sure if that constitutes working with the elements or if I just like to be organized. What is one thing a witch can't do? Be bigoted. You cannot be a witch and be racist, homophobic, sexist, ableist, etc., etc. Because even if you don't necessarily practice the love and light philosophy, that's fine. But the whole goal of modern witchcraft, at least, is to escape a lot of those things that are imposed by the church. And listen, I know that not every church or everyone who is a Christian or follows the Abrahamic religions has those bigoted beliefs. Of course I know that. I know plenty of amazing, wonderful Christians in this world who really, truly do love and accept everyone. But if you're asking me what is one thing that a witch can't do, it's that. You cannot be bigoted. You cannot gatekeep or exclude people. Closed practices are different, but the people who engage in closed practices still have love for everyone. And even if you can't participate in their practice, they're not discriminating against you for your skin color or who you love or things of that nature. And finally, what is my favorite herb? Oh, where is it? Elderberry! So my elderberry jar is mixed with lemongrass, but no one talks about elderberry enough, and I think we need to talk about it. Elderberry blocks curses and hexes and can reverse them. It's extremely protective. It's great for protection. It can also induce really vivid dreams, and it kind of bridges our realm and the spiritual realm. Plus, it smells great. It's also really good for colds. If you have a cold, make elderberry tea. Inflammation, any kind of pain, elderberry. It's amazing. So that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna be working on some more in-depth witchy content soon, but I wanted to kind of ease into this channel slowly, especially because it's been a busy week. But maybe I'll do another Q&A sometime. Let me know if I should. But let me know what else you guys want to see on this channel. I definitely want to make that beginner crystal video and like Christian deity correspondences. But let me know what else you want to see, what other content you want from me. And yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.